Okay, let's dive into this explainer and fix what is honestly one of the most frustrating problems in business today. I mean, think about it. You spend all this time and money driving hard-earned traffic to your website, only to sit back and watch those visitors just leave without buying. It's incredibly common to have people clicking your ads or finding you on Google, but if they bounce without taking action, well, you don't have a product problem. You have a landing page conversion strategy problem. And today, we're going to fix exactly that. But before we start diagnosing your pages, here's our roadmap for the explainer. We'll hit 1. The landing page conversion gap. 2. 3 silent conversion killers. 3. Anatomy of high converting pages. 4. Nailing the call to action. 5. The invisible trust foundation. And 6. Test, measure, and improve. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The landing page conversion gap. Let's take a look at what the data actually says about where things stand.
So, according to the Unbounce 2026 Conversion Benchmark Report, the average landing page conversion rate across all industries hovers right around 4%. But the top 10% of pages, they hit 11% or more. That is a massive gap. And honestly, it proves that a lack of sales or leads isn't just bad luck. It really comes down to strategy, design, and how well your brand is communicated the very second someone lands on your page. Moving right along to Section 2, 3 silent conversion killers. Let's look at what's actively leaking your traffic.
You see, most landing pages leak visitors because the page actually gets in its own way. Ask yourself if your page is guilty of any of the 3 biggest culprits: a weak or confusing headline, way too many calls to action, or absolutely zero social proof. We really need to break these down one by one because fixing even a single one of these can drastically change your metrics.
The sheer volume of lost attention here is wild. Based on 2026 research from Winter, a staggering 80% of landing page visitors only read the headline and the first line of the subheading before deciding whether to stick around or bounce. Just 80%. You literally have a 5-second window. If your headline doesn't instantly tell someone what's in it for them, they are gone. Now, this next number is just crazy. If you use multiple different call to action buttons, like having book a call, download our guide, and learn more slapped all over the exact same page, your page will convert a staggering 266% worse than a page with a single focused offer. You might think you're giving visitors helpful options, but you're actually just overwhelming them. If you ask someone to make 2 decisions at once, they'll usually end up making none. Finally, human psychology is pretty simple. People rarely want to be the first to take a chance on you. Customer testimonials alone can bump up conversions by up to 34%. Genuine social proof, like reviews and case studies, are absolutely essential. It's the foundation for building the trust that gets someone to confidently click. Okay, Section 3, Anatomy of High Converting Pages. Let's see how these proven elements work together from top to bottom. Remember that 5-second headline window we just talked about? Well, it must be benefit-led. Benefit-led headlines, the ones that tell the reader exactly what they're going to get, outperform vague, feature-led copy by an average of 27%. For example, a headline that says, "Get more inquiries," is super vague, but "Get 3x more inquiries from your website in 90 days? Now that is a clear, immediate benefit that people can actually picture. If your headline isn't explicitly stating the benefit, it's definitely time to rewrite it. Now, let's talk about above the fold. That's everything a visitor sees without having to scroll. You absolutely have to keep your headline, your supporting sentence, and your button right there in that top section. Why? Because up to 64% of mobile visitors will literally never scroll past that first screen. If your most important message isn't front and center from the get-go, a huge chunk of your audience will just never see it. So as we continue building out your page anatomy, you've really got to wonder, how much does form length matter? We know we want to capture user information, right? But how much is too much before the form starts getting in our own way? Well, research from ImageScape tested this exact scenario. They looked at the precise impact of chopping down a really lengthy 11-field form to just 4 essential fields. I mean, just think about how often you've abandoned a page simply because a form looked like a tedious homework assignment. The crucial point here is that this simple reduction led to a mind-blowing 120% increase in conversions. No, that's not a typo. You should only ask for what you genuinely need to start the conversation, like a name and an email address. You can always gather the rest of the details later. Moving to Section 4, Nailing the Call to Action. This is your ultimate point of conversion. This brilliantly illustrates the power of microcopywriting. In a famous A/B test, just changing the button copy from a task-focused sign up for free to an outcome-focused trial for free led to a massive 104% increase in click-throughs. You always want to focus on what the user is gaining, the trial, not the chore they have to do, the signing up. Always start with an action verb and be super specific.
Now, while you should only have one primary action per page, you really need to repeat that exact same message at 3 specific points. First, put it right in the hero section for instant visibility, 0 scrolling required. Second, drop it mid-page once you've built up some context and desire. And third, put it at the very bottom for those visitors who have read absolutely everything and are finally ready to act. That is how you seamlessly capture intent.
All right, Section 5, the Invisible Trust Foundation. Let's look at the underlying technical elements that completely impact your bottom line.
Speed is an absolutely massive conversion lever. Even a 1-second delay in page load time reduces conversions by 7%. In fact, pages that load in 1 second actually convert 3 times more visitors than pages that take 5 seconds. There are 3 2026 Google Core Web Vitals you need to be actively tracking: LCP, INP, and CLS. Basically, if your content is slow to load, slow to react to a tap, or if it jumps around the screen while loading, you are bleeding conversions before the user even reads a single word. And think about where those users are actually loading your page. Mobile devices now account for 65% of all landing page traffic, yet the average mobile page converts at only 2.8%, compared to 4.8% on desktop. Why is it converting so poorly? Well, because most pages are still designed for desktop first. You absolutely must design for mobile first. That means incredibly fast loads, large tap targets, and nice, short paragraphs. Beyond the tech, there's visual trust. When a visitor lands on your page from an ad, their brain asks a split-second question: does this feel legit? If your fonts, imagery, and colors don't match the exact ad that brought them there, their brain immediately registers friction and doubt. It just looks cobbled together, you know? Consistent professional brand identity is the foundation of subconscious trust, and removing that hesitation literally saves the sale.
Finally, Section 6, test, measure, and improve, because great landing pages are never actually finished. You really don't need to track absolutely everything, but there are 4 metrics that genuinely matter. By tracking these against your own past performance, you can precisely diagnose your bottleneck. High bounce rate but low scroll depth? Okay, you've got a headline or an above-the-fold problem. Good scroll depth but low conversions? Your call to action or your form is broken. A low time on page reveals if your copy is just being skimmed instead of actually read. So test one element at a time: the headline, the button, the hero image, and just watch the numbers move. I want to leave you with this provocative thought when you're deciding how long a page should be. The rule of thumb is this: it should be exactly as long as it needs to be to answer every single objection a first-time visitor might have. Because if it fails to answer an objection, or if it's even 1 word longer than necessary to do so, you are just leaving money on the table. Take a hard look at your pages today and ask yourself, what invisible friction is standing between you and your next customer?